Welcome back to the Angry Man Podcast with Jason and Greg. So, Jay, news just broke that Devin Haney weighed 25 pounds over the 140-pound limit when he faced Regis Prograis. Now, this isn't to say that that was any excuse for the victory or an excuse for Regis Prograis, because if I'm not mistaken, Regis Prograis came in at 156. So he was roughly 16 pounds over. And Haney came in at 165 and some change. So this to me now, Jay, explains why Devin Haney is actually looking at welterweight. It makes perfect sense to me now, because on the night of the fight, hell, he could have been in the ring with David Benavidez. He weighed so much. I mean, the way that so number one, I'm surprised that he was able to drop so much water weight just for the weigh-in. But clearly, Devin Haney is too big for 140 pounds. He mentioned, he said, it's probably going to even be a struggle for me to make 140. So with that being said, he was absolutely right. It was a challenge for him to make 140 pounds. Now, I think it's going to continue to be a challenge for him to make 140 pounds. We did a video earlier today, and some people question why we believe that he should go ahead and fight Ryan Garcia. It's twofold. Number one, because he's a big guy, and clearly he has some challenges with making the weight. And then number two, you got to strike while the iron is hot. Ryan Garcia has a hot name right now, and you better hop on it before somebody else with a lesser name beat him. You have the opportunity to make a huge fight. You better get to him now. That's why I think the time is now for him to fight Ryan Garcia. But he's not going to last much longer at 140 pounds. He can't, not when you're rehydrating 25 pounds from being a 140 pounder. And people thought that when I said that, Canelo Alvarez is probably rehydrating somewhere into like the high 180s, they're saying, no, maybe the 170s. BS. The bigger you are, the more likely it is that you're rehydrating up more. So, Jay, again, I'm not calling Devin a weight bully or anything of that nature, because he beat Regis Prograis with skill. However, the notion that somebody like Gervonta Davis, who's a small guy, let's be honest, Tank is small. He's not as big as Devin. Tank is small. That's why Tank has been saying he doesn't want to move up to 140 pounds. So if he were to move up and face Devin Haney, how much you think Tank comes in the ring weighing? Maybe 140, 145? So Devin is going to come in with basically a 20-pound advantage on fight night. So that's probably the reason why Tank will put in a rehydration clause. I'm just letting you guys know, Devin Haney, since apparently has the ability to drop that much weight and then come back in extremely rehydrated and big, and that's going to be to his advantage, clearly. And I'm not saying that Tank shouldn't fight him. I still think Tank should fight him, because I still think Tank will have a chance to beat him. But man, knocking out a guy that's coming in the ring at 165 that's going to weigh that much more than you, man, that's pretty tough. So Jay, where does he go from here? Because I don't think he has too many fights at 140. If he moves to 147, eventually he's going to have to face somebody like Boots. And I don't give a damn if he walks in the ring at 165 against Boots or whatever he weighs against Boots. I think he's going to lose. I think he's going to lose bad. So yeah. So does he try to stick around and make the weight and stay at 140, or does he go ahead and move up to 147? But an L is surely going to come. Now, it may not come immediately. Maybe he can pick the right fight. He's talking about Keith Thurman. Maybe they see something in Thurman. Maybe they can avoid Boots for a little bit. But eventually that L going to come at 47. He's a big guy that doesn't have a ton of power. And although I believe he's very skilled, I don't think he's that skilled. I don't think he's like a Floyd, where his skill is so great that it offsets everything else his opponent does, including having a size advantage. So, Jay, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's wild. I mean, also, I wonder, if it's just in California that they start releasing, the day of the fight weigh-ins. So I'd be interested in other fighters as well. So I'd be interested in, so I don't want people to think that we're just saying this because it's Haney. No, it's just, it came out, and it's interesting because 25 damn pounds is a lot.
It is.
I mean, he's not coming in. If they're fighting in the IBF, if I'm not mistaken, has a cap where you can only gain 10 pounds day of the next weigh-in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's fighting. This was WBC, so no rehydration clause or anything like that was on there. No cap. for that. So I mean, I'm not mad at anyone that's saying that, if I'm fighting you at 135, I'm not going to let you just balloon up to 160, anything like that, and have a complete unfair advantage over me. Nah. I'm not going to do that. So I'm not mad at any fighter that wants to try to keep a level playing field, because I remember that I'm old enough to remember Arturo Gatti doing that shit. And I remember when Arturo Gatti damn near sent some dude to a hospital really bad because he outweighed that dude by 25 pounds or 22 pounds, something like that. And it was obvious. I think they're fighting at 130, 135, something like that when he fought. Could be wrong on the weights, but either way, he had to do it by 20 some pounds. So it's just crazy that Devin could suck himself down to that 140. And I wonder how much he was coming in when he was weighing at 135 and at 135. So I mean, it could be a disadvantage on him as well, because that's a lot of weight to be losing, and how that's going to impact him. But he did it some type of way. He got down to 140. The next day, he was able to just rehydrate up. I know Regis came in like at 156, which is like 16 pounds, but 25 is a lot, man. I mean, that means Devin probably walks around like at 175, 180. He always said he's a big dude. He's a big guy at 140, at 135 and 140. So I mean, he's definitely dropping down. I mean, if you can get down to the weight, cool. I mean, I know people want to say, well, Spence does it. Yeah, Spence did it, but he was doing it in the IBF where he still had to be within that 10 pounds of 147 the next day, after the next day weigh-in. So that was a little bit different. You still had to maintain your weight a little bit. Then after that, you could gain a little bit more after that second day weigh-in. But that 25 pounds, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. I worry about for health-wise as well.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that, Jay. That is completely crazy that we're seeing that much of a weight advantage. Again, that's not the reason why Devin Haney won that fight. Devin Haney won that fight because of skill.
That was skills.
But at the end of the day, I just feel like taking the health thing out of it, my thing is, it's time for Devin to move up to 47. Clearly, Devin is a lot bigger than what I even thought he was. I thought maybe he was a natural 140 pounder. Devin seems like he's a natural 147 or maybe even a 54 pounder. That's a lot of weight to put on, man. 165, that's a lot of weight. So he would have been walking in the ring, not to say that he's a super middleweight, because super middleweights, they're probably rehydrating maybe 20 pounds higher. So they're probably in the 180s. But man, I mean, good Lord, he's at least a welterweight. He's at least a welterweight, and maybe even 154 pounder. So I just think it's time for Devin to maybe move up. I think there's opportunities for him at the higher weight class. He is a skilled fighter. I think there's some fights that he'll be competitive in at 147. So we'll see. And Devin is getting better. So I don't want to discount the fact that Devin's getting better. So maybe we might see an even improved Devin Haney at 147.
Not on that, we can. I mean, this is not a hate on Devin. Like, Devin's the only one. All fighters do this for the most part. It's just how much they rehydrate to is what we're talking about. This is just crazy that for 25 pounds that he did. If anyone else does it, it's the same conversation. It's not just a Devin thing, And again, like Greg said, Devin won that fight because of his skills, not because of the weight. He won it because of his skills. All 12 rounds was his skills, not the weight.
Yep. So you guys tell us what you think in the comment section in regards to Devin Haney coming in 25 pounds heavier. Don't forget to hate, like, comment, and subscribe. This is the Angry Man Podcast on Sports Media, and we are out.